This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everyone. What a way to start the drive. It is a landscape shot, but there happens to be a very large mammal who is filling the landscape and staring at us. Good morning, giraffe. It's all okay. Good morning, my name is Lauren. I have OD on camera today. And the weather, I'm not really sure how I feel about it this morning. We've kept our rain roofs on because there are some clouds. Oh, look at that, Owen. Can you get any view of that? Or is the terrible rain roof in the way? Oh my goodness. The rain roof, the presenters are very skilled, but we're not good at positioning when there's a rain roof, I must say. So something's rolling in, so we're just keeping the rain roof on for now, but it makes the scenery with the giraffe absolutely spectacular. What a way to start the drive, especially after yesterday's drive. To summarize, it was phenomenal. Rowan had the Nkuhumas, who I would say used to be our dominant pride, but don't frequent so often. And of course, I had a very active hyena today. So before I forget, we are live, we are interactive. Please do talk to us. Send in your relevant questions using the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter, or if you're on the WildEarth website, as long as you've registered, you can submit your questions under the live safari page. Do you have a question, Giraffe? You want to know what I'm doing? Okay, we're just admiring you. And kids, if you're watching, please do send in your questions. You send them in via email, and the email address is kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. Big boy. I haven't seen a giraffe around in a while, actually. I must say, it's been a while since I've had a giraffe sighting. They come and go. Aloof in nature, aloof in movements. And Rowan said, Lauren, it's my last day. I'm going to look for leopards all day long. So I said, okay, Rowan, I will help you. We're both going to look for leopards today. I'll pop in at the den, I'll tell you why in just a moment. But it's leopard today. John, you've got your coffee ready. You said good morning and you're ready for a bumble. John, I've already finished my coffee. And look at the size of it. It's actually ridiculously large. One of the viewers, one of you, kindly gifted this to me. And it is literally the size of my face, which is dangerous. I don't fill it all the way up, but this is 2 cups of coffee. So I've already finished mine, which is rather devastating, John, but enjoy yours. Savor every sip. And look at that body. He's walking down Twin Dams Road. That's the way I'm gonna go, boy. That's my favorite road. Then look, just like that, he completely disappears. Amazing. Okay, I'm going to go south on Twin Dams Road as usual, but for now, let's take a look at the weather.
Does indeed look a little bit cloudy, but I'm excited. We are out, we are checking the first cut line, and then after that another boundary. And yeah, our big plan for the morning is to try see if we can find a leopard. So this morning, I'm Rowan, I'll be your guide, Darby behind the camera, and yeah, I think we'll actually spend the entire day just trying to find a leopard. It is my last day, and it's what I want to do, so selfishly, that is what you guys get to do with us. Yeah, so here's our first cut line, and it's Triple M. So we've checked from Gowrie Gate all the way here, still searching for tracks. Of course, like always, a lot of hyena tracks, quite a few elephant tracks, and so far, no leopard tracks. But what? We are 5 minutes into the show, so we've got plenty time. So Lauren is checking one side of the property and I headed in the opposite direction. Both of us looking for leopard. It's a good start. I mean, we had a little bit of rain come down at 3 o'clock, so should anything have walked after that, we know exactly, okay, you walked after 3. I must say it's actually a rather pretty day because all the clouds on our left is just lit up. How beautiful is that? On that note, I think JP just wants to say good morning to everyone, so we'll send you over to Pridelands.
Good morning and welcome to Eco Training Pridelands. I'm just repositioning the vehicle quickly, but we can get a better view of our elephant. Actually, a few seconds ago, it was such amazing sighting as he was walking directly with the sun behind him, and he had this beautiful golden glow on him. I'm just going to stop right over here and have another look at him. He came and gave me and BK a visit at the vehicle. And then from there, once he's lost interest of us, he started moving on and started feeding again. So my name is JP LaRue, and behind the camera we've got BK. And let's see what our elephant is getting up to. So our plans for the morning is pretty much to go from a few of the little dams and see if there's anything interesting popping up there. It's also interesting to see how the dynamics of elephants have changed in the last few weeks around here since I've been back from leave. And where we had large herds in the area, we now only have small little scattered groups. I'm sure these large herds of elephants are all going to come back into the area again. One of the reasons why they're not so concentrated anymore on the property is as we had a large amount of rainfall, and there's a lot of small little pans throughout the veld where they can get sufficient amount of water from, as well as they can go and wallow at. I just love watching how the elephants are using their trunk actually to manipulate the food. It's not the only use that they have for their trunk. They will also often use that to drink, as well as use it as a snorkel when they're actually going through water. They also will often use that trunk as a punishment device. Quite often I've seen a few very young elephants that are misbehaved, and very quickly females will lash out to them with the trunk. I've also seen large bulls using those as weapons against one another, as well as using it to dominate a number of different species at waterholes. And I've been fortunate enough twice now to see where an elephant bull actually smacked a rhino off its feet with its trunk simply by using the action of the head. Good morning, Billy, and welcome to the show. Yes, it's a great way of starting a Friday and starting the weekend, and I'm absolutely happy because we've got a nice sighting of an elephant as well as a beautiful sunrise at the moment. Interesting to see what the weather is going to do, as we had no clouds in the sky this morning when I arrived at work. However, within 10-15 minutes, it became overcast and there seems to be another frontal system that's moving in. We might actually have a little bit of rain again later on in the morning or throughout the day.
We are on our bumbo south. I'm not going to stop just yet because I love this first hour. It's cool, it's not that warm even though I'm in my short sleeves, and we've got a lot of cloud cover. This is the time that animals will be mobile because generally in summer when it's not raining, it gets very hot very quickly, and as soon as it's hot they go flat. They sleep all day. This is the sort of predators that we're looking for. And well, it's just worth making the most of this hour. I'll normally give myself about an hour and a half to loop around, check for tracks, listen for alarm calls, and see if we can find anything. First stop, hyena day. Always. Blue skies to this side, dark cloud to this side. I don't really know what to think about today. Headwinds. Has been raining throughout the night as well, which makes the ground a little bit tricky to work with. You will see tracks, but not as easy as if it was dry, that's for sure. Okay, we are almost at the drain. This is the dip before the drain. And let's hope for this morning that is active.
Okay, so we're still on the same cut line, Triple M. No tracks of a leopard just yet, but with the next left we'll be on Gowrie Main, and that's where the lions were walking to as well, so we'd be able to see exactly where they crossed out. I mean, it would be quite nice if the portion of the pride that was calling and the portion of the pride that we were watching met in the middle. And I can imagine that would be around Treehouse Dam somewhere. Of course, if we do see them, we'll quickly pop in and then continue our search for leopard. The light this morning is so nice. So the sun popped out for a little while, and now there's just this light cloud in front of it, and it's basically just making everything yellow. It's awesome. So yeah, we decided to keep the rain roofs on because we're not really too sure. Darby's up said 30%, mine said 0.8 mil in the first hour, then 1.1 mil in the next hour, and then another 1.2 mils after that. So I decided again, play it safe, keep the roof on. it sounds like Lauren's at her favorite place in the world, so we'll send you across that way.
I am. And we have Heart suckling her little one and Ribbon's little one being very interested. They're hungry. But Heart is not going to let them do anything, that's for sure. Heart also knows they're just cubs, but if they do try to push her little one out the way or try to suckle, she will give a little growl that'll say no. It's like when you got a puppy and you say nope, nope. Almost like that. So the reason I've come here, obviously I wanted to see the hyenas, but it's also good to know that who's occupying the den at what point. Now, obviously, Heart is here, and I really would love to see Ribbon and Heart both at the den. They're both mothers, and they both need to be here at some point. And I was really hoping that we could maybe catch them both at the den. I don't imagine they would be cuddling like the hyenas were yesterday, but I was hoping that they would maybe find a little nice patch of ground and both be present here. But if you think about when we first saw this little cub, we didn't know who the mother was straight away because Heart was not here. Now Heart's been here for a while. Hyenas will leave. They will go and either hunt or scavenge or follow leopards, follow lions, and then come to the den. So it's not a consistent thing. They still need to feed in order to keep their milk nice and nutritious. And secondly, Corky. Now, I guess, to be completely honest, we don't actually know that she's the matriarch. We haven't seen enough conclusive evidence to be able to say, yes, Corky is now the matriarch again. We did see the fights and the aggression, and we did see Corky be really aggressive with Intima. We saw Ribbon in the water being chased into twin dams. We also have seen Heart's cub try to suckle from Ribbon, and she didn't do anything about it, whereas Heart won't do that. So we're sort of establishing that Ribbon has fallen in the ranks, but I guess we don't really know. I do believe Corky has taken back the position of being the matriarch. We don't really know that. So where is Corky? This is a communal den. It has been a communal den for quite some time. As long as you see other hyenas there interacting with mother and cub, then it's communal. And where's Corky? I think I saw her once on my first day back, but where is she? And I have a sneaky suspicion she could be denning or getting ready to den. But that's another reason I keep checking in. We won't spend all morning here, but you got to keep coming back and figure out who's here. We know that Indabelle, Swazi's been here, Novella's been here. Where is Intima? Why isn't Intima coming here? Her mother's here. And where is Corky? June's been here, Comet's been here. So it's interesting. I could be wrong about Corky. That's just what I think. Because the matriarch would spend time at the communal den. She would. It's where her clan meets, aggregates, associates. We got a hungry little bunny here. Greg, we are on a roll. You're right. It's going to be a good drive. I can feel it. I just know it. You got to take the quiet ones. And I saw someone ask the other day, why do you only go after lions, hyenas? We absolutely don't. We spend days upon days looking at impala and yala, kudu, whatever we come across. I've spent days on end just looking at insects. We don't often see the inkohumas, so not like we used to. So when we do, we will spend time with them. And I can even ask Owen, I don't know how many times a day I come here and the den is not active. Which means that when it is active, you are going to spend time. We learned a lot from yesterday's sighting. It was just absolutely wonderful. It was the best. And that's how you gain information. By stopping by the den for 2 minutes and leaving again, you're not really going to gain information from what's happening in the clan. So we absolutely don't just go after the predators. And then for the leopards, I've seen Klalamba once since coming back. Now she is a dominant leopardess of Djuma. I've seen her once. So you are going to make missions to follow up with these animals, and then of course see what you see along the way. We stop for everything. Sometimes we stop, we frame it up, we put it on camera, and of course it moves. It leaves before the director can come to us. So it's not that we ignore everything else in the reserve, I can assure you. My mission today is Klalamba and golden orb web spider. I really want to see one. Or a garden orb. An orb, basically. Okay, we're going to stay here a tad longer before we really do start bumbling looking for Miss Klalamba. But for now, over to JP on the bushwalk.
A little bit longer. Live. Good morning and welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. We're just going to quickly reposition. We've been spending quite a lot of time with a young elephant bull, incredibly relaxed, and every now and then he comes close to the vehicle, comes and has a look, what are we doing? I just want to see where we can position. I never like to really position directly behind them when they are facing away from us, as this often gets the impression that they're being followed. You can normally see that the animals don't quite often relax when they do that. From this angle, that's pretty much good. I'm just going to turn my vehicle in here and we can watch him and he can also see us. What you'll notice is as he's busy feeding, he alternates between both grass as well as leaf material, and he's obviously going for the most nutritious parts of all the different plants that he can get hold of. But generally at this time of the year, we actually see that they mostly will go for grasses. And one of the things that I do particularly find interesting about elephants is that they deliberately will manipulate their environment so that they can benefit from both grasses as well as from browsing. And by managing the amount of trees, that creates a sufficient amount of grass cover that they can utilize in the summer months. However, in the winter, they predominantly switch over to feeding on leaf material again. And what we also find that's quite interesting is that they can even have an influence on the other species that we find within an area. As in some areas where elephants become too numerous, we'll actually notice that they will outcompete the trees, and that habitat might change into a grassland. And that will mean that you will actually have more grazing antelope species making their way into that area and excluding the browsing antelope species. We also can see the opposite happening when you have too little elephants in an area. Then you often have bush encroachment that will be taking place and excluding grasses, and eventually you will lose your species diversity of grazing antelope species in that area. Something else which I also do find particularly interesting with their behavior in terms of altering environments is that they often prevent or are used actually to prevent bush encroachment in specific areas. In some conservation areas, which was previously farmlands, there's a large amount of sickle bush, and what they did is they actually noticed that very little of the sickle bush was moving. Eventually they sprayed molasses on that, and that attracted the elephants. And very quickly we found that the elephants were opening up those clearings, and that saved them a lot of money in terms of cost, and also prevented them from using herbicides, which is plant toxins, which are used to kill off plants which are invasive. Well, we're going to move on and go and see if we can catch up with our elephant and see what else is going on outside there this morning.
excited. It's now rather misty in front of us, so we actually stopped. It's like, what's that? And it turned out to be a male impala, which is still very nice to see, don't get me wrong. It's just it's when your mind starts playing games, because all you really want to find is a leopard. And we haven't seen a single track of a leopard, which is okay. Because we're basically only looking at cut lines now, doesn't mean they're not here, it just means they haven't crossed this road. So, pretty sure we still have a few in Juma that we can start looking for once we are done with the cut lines, with the boundaries. But I got very excited to see this impala. I'll probably even spend a minute with him just to absolutely appreciate how closely he resembled a leopard from 200 meters away. Hey Darby, that is a good looking impala. Nice set of horn. The one on the left a little bit skew. This one has a better set of horns. So all of these just males to our right that have now crossed over onto a different property. Oh, there we go. Fight. Making sure the coast is clear, and they'll probably have another headbutt.
Such pleasant moments by the Dane. It's been a few days now I haven't seen Ribbon. And it's obviously very much Hart who's dominating that entrance. Could be intentional, could not. Ribbon also has defeat. We also believe she's quite low ranked now, so she's probably got to just go hunt or scavenge on her own now instead of going out as a unit with other clan members. This one is hungry. Dr. Rocky Balboa, I don't actually know. Never felt a hyena tongue. But I do believe it's more like dogs. So they still have that sort of... they still have those bumps, but it's not quite as rough as cats. When a domestic cat licks you, it's like a little piece of sandpaper. So I believe it's more like that of domestic dogs. Oh, we'll see another head coming to investigate. Hyena mothers are generally quite tolerant of cubs. I mean, they might sort of tell the cub to get away, but they're not aggressive with cubs in general. I've seen lionesses be incredibly aggressive with cubs, even their own. But hyenas, not so much. I mean, if the cub is being naughty, they will get scolded, if you like. And if the cub is trying to suckle and it shouldn't, because of course they are. Cubs obviously going to try and suckle. It's all they know. Okay, they know it's not mom, but they can smell this delicious aroma of milk and they're hungry, and of course they're going to try. And it's up to the mothers to either encourage that behavior or scold that behavior and put an end to it. And generally, hyena mothers scold, but they're really not aggressive. It's quite nice how adults are with the cubs. I mean, look at Indabele and Swazi last night. If you didn't see that sighting and you are a fan of hyenas, it's absolutely worth the watch. And they were so happy to see cubs. They were overjoyed. They wanted to play. They wanted to meet the cub. And generally, that's how it is throughout the clan. I mean, at den sites, if all the adults arrive, you can have up to 10 plus hyenas all running around the den. It can be really quite something. Fred, yes, once it's a communal den, they do generally move together. So once it's a sort of communal area where everybody hangs out, yes, they would. We actually watched it happen. I think it was in 2020. They moved dens all together. All the adults got the cubs and moved. So there must be some form of communication, some signal that tells all the hyenas it's time to move, and that can be due to an imminent threat or normally parasite load, when the den just gets a bit smelly and unhygienic. You don't want an unhygienic environment for the cubs. So yes, he would move together now that it's a communal den. And think about it, it benefits Heart and it benefits Ribbon for it to be communal. There's always a babysitter. Look at this. Ribbon doesn't really have to worry. Heart's here. Heart's not going to let anything happen to any of the cubs. And also, at the age the cubs are at now, they would be very lonely if they were on their own. They need to also learn how to play with each other, how to socialize with each other. They keep themselves occupied for long periods of time when there are no adults around. They can also maybe keep each other safe. More eyes, more ears, more nostrils. So it really benefits them once the cubs get to a certain stage for it to be communal. Although there was an upset and upheaval, it's been a turbulent time for the Juma clan once again, it doesn't mean that they all hate each other. It was just a slight competition. Corky and Ribbon were fighting for that top spot. Corky had that top spot taken off her when she was weak and injured, and she clearly wanted it back. But it doesn't mean that there is, they want to kill each other on that level. Of course, some hyenas it can get aggressive. But that wasn't really what it was all about. Good morning. Hello. Oh, kisses from Mum. Nice to see you. Michael Fleetwood, I bet you're overjoyed. You're saying content cub and exhausted mum standard. Mom life. Yep, that's how it usually is. So when I saw Heart really playing last night with Indabele, I'm talking, doing the wrestle, like how you see cubs play. It's very rare to see the mums play like that, because they're tired. Any mom is tired. It was just so lovely to see that last night. It's the first time I've seen it. Indabele and Swazi play. I mean, they are 3.5, but Indabele's not a mom. But to see that, it's just so wonderful. Well, that's us got a good look at Heart's little one. Nice visuals, nice close-up. As for the sex, I've got a long way to go with that. Hyenas are incredible moms. Because people don't realize that. They really are. What you smelling, heart? And you see, Ribbon's pair are there. I keep seeing little heads bob, and when we first arrived, there was another cub. But it's not their mom, and they know they can't alusuckle. So they might come out if they want to wander and explore, but otherwise, this is not their moment. Okay, we may bumble because there's another vehicle coming and there's really only space for one vehicle here. I don't know which one, but Rowan has made his way to a water hole.
Yeah, so I just quickly popped into Twin Dams just to make sure there's nothing here, and then we are going back to Boundary Patrol. Oddly, I have not found even tracks of the Nkuhumas crossing over. It might be that with a bit of rain, you know, it got washed away, although I doubt it, because it doesn't seem like it rained that much. But yes, on the leopard front, nothing so far. Just passed a vehicle from Chitwa, and he also said they haven't found a single thing. So nice slow start to the morning, but it should pick up rather soon, hopefully. So far it's always been towards the end of drive where we start seeing things, or things start happening. So Twin Dams. Jimmy, all animals could be found at the dam. Usually thirsty animals. Depending which dam you go to, you might see a hippo, maybe a crocodile, some terrapins. There's a monitor lizard that we've seen here quite a number of times before. The reason why that's quite nice to check in the morning is if there's any predator that has a carcass or had a carcass last night, they would usually finish the carcass, or if it's a leopard, leave the carcass, come for dam, and then go back. But now, Jimmy, the issue is, again, with just a little bit of rain, there are puddles of water everywhere. But it's always my thought, when you go past a dam, you might as well just stick your nose in and see if there's anything. I found Lauren. It's always a good fun as well. Oh, hi! How's it going?
Lovely to see you.
And you?
Good luck on your search, dude.
Yes.
I'm going east.
Okay, perfect. I'm just doing Boundary Patrol. It was Darby's idea. Bye now. That's all. Finally got to see something other than Odie's thumb. Actually, maybe let's take the next one. We'll drive through that way. Okay, it seems like Lauren's gonna go towards Drakensberg. Probably, well, from what I've heard, the best spot to start looking for Tlalamba. looks like it rained more here than it did at camp. The road is very wet. Guys, so let's go into the Mawati and continue our little boundary patrol and just try to find a track somewhere.
I think we're live. I'm having crazy noises in my ear. Did you hear that, Owen? Lots of beeping and crazy noises. Okay, seems to have calmed down. That was not pleasant. Oh, and Pala and lamb. The lambs are getting so big. Can you get them from here, Owen? Let's just sit for a moment and watch them. It appears to be only mother and lamb. You guys need to find your herd. They're hiding, but we can still see you. Isn't that lovely? Just watching mother and lamb make their way across the landscape.
Welcome back to Eco Training Providence. At the moment we were watching a group of monkeys, but they seem to be quite skulky at the moment and they've now disappeared in the thick vegetation. One of them was a male and the other was a female with a very young baby which was hanging underneath her. I just can see the male popping up his head again now there from the thicket, having a peek at what we are up to. There's also some of them that's scattered throughout the trees. We often see with vervet monkeys that they spend a lot of time on the ground compared to other monkey species. And we also see that there's always somebody that's keeping an eye open for potential threats. There was a male that just jumped off the bush and went into the thicket. The reason why we do know that it's a male is because of the incredibly dark blue scrotum. And the darker blue the scrotum, the more dominant the individual. We also see that with monkeys, that color is also very important when it comes to visual communication, as it will relay, the scrotum color will relay a number of different and important messages about the dominance and ranking position of a specific individual. It's also important for them as that they need to be able to select between ripe fruits and flowers that they would like to eat, as green fruits are quite often toxic and bitter in taste. We see that monkeys tend to also be a little bit more selective in terms of what they eat compared to baboons, which will often feed on incredibly toxic plants. Now, we came down to the dam as that there was a report of a big breeding herd of elephant that was making its way over here. Unfortunately, they have not arrived yet, but we did have a few bulls that were having a little bit of a fight, and then they moved off. There's also one of the viewer questions that has just come through, and the question was, why was our elephant bull from earlier on his own? He wasn't actually on his own, he was actually forming part of another small group. I think there was 2 or 3 elephant bulls that were scattered throughout the area. But when it does come to social structures of elephant, there's quite a wide range of different social structures that we can observe. We can find solitary bulls, and quite often I find that the older bulls that are must tend to be the ones that are more often solitary. We also find that bulls that have gone to a point in their life beyond 45 where they don't really reproduce will form the nucleus of that bachelor herds again, and often we'll find that the younger number of young males will actually associate with that big bull, and they basically teach them all kinds of tricks, which is important for adult elephants to know. And the typical structures that we normally see is that of the breeding herd, where we have a single large cow, which is normally the oldest individual within that group, which will then lead the group. And those groups generally consist out of her daughters, as well as a number of young males between the age of 12 and 15. It's normally around by that age where they get kicked out and then have to go and move off on their own. So we're going to hang around at the dam a little bit longer. We're also anticipating quite heavy rain to hit us any moment, as it's incredibly dark from the south. And then from there, let's go and see what Lauren is up to.
Oh, if there's a big storm coming through Pridelands, then it will most likely definitely hit us too. They're not too far away. I mean, in terms of distance, it's not that far. To drive there, it takes about an hour and a half because the roads are... I don't even know how to describe them. The roads to get into the Sabi Sands. Hectic. Interesting, but hectic. South Africans love that word. It applies to anything. The weather can be hectic, the roads can be hectic, the drink that you make if it's too strong can be hectic. The noise can be hectic, anything can be hectic, and the roads, I agree, are hectic. Can really damage your car, so it takes a long time. But in terms of actual distance, it's not that far. So we are on Drakensberg, no we're not, we're on Lightwood, sorry, heading to Drakensberg. For Naughty's in the game, which is good, he's going to check Cheetah Cutline. He's also looking for Kalamba. I had a chat to him yesterday. We need to work the areas together. So he's on it this morning. Will we find her if she's sitting in the block on a kill? Maybe not, but we just need someone to pick up on the tracks, and because the ground is so wet, that's going to be tricky. But we're on it. The more we work the area, someone at some point is going to come across signs. Alarm calls, a hyena following something, tracks, could be anything, scats. But it's going to happen. We've just got to put that energy in and do it. And then if all else fails, we'll go back to the hyena den and see if anything's changed. Will Ribbon be there? Will Corky be there? Who knows? But on that note, every single time I pass an area where I know there's a accessible hyena den, I check. So yesterday I checked hyena den number 1. That was very much Corky's area when she was extremely dominant. I'm also going to check 2 and 3 today. I checked Gwen's den yesterday. We can try and boo-boo, but it might be a bit hectic if the grounds are wet. But if it's dry, I can do in Vubu. Galago Shortcut's a tricky one. I can also try Zoe's. Just when I'm driving, I'm not making it my mission because I don't know that Corky is staying. But if I'm driving that area, I will just pop in and look. The little Gowrie den, We've got permission just to pop there. It's 20 meters from the boundary line to see if we can find possibly corky. But first, Kalamba. Bessie, you're asking how long is the smell range? How long is the smell range? I'm guessing you're meaning how far can they smell, and I really don't know. This is a very tricky one for us to determine unless we keep a hyena in captivity and do constant tests on it to see if it can smell, but it's known to be extremely far, and I'm talking about miles and miles and miles. They do have amazing hearing. They do have good eyesight, but really a hyena is all about the nose, like a bloodhound. Miles upon miles. They can smell a kill or a carcass, a really old carcass. And that's why you see hyenas when they're walking, they do that really funny, they keep their head up. They're just constantly swinging their head from side to side, trying to catch a scent. Like a bloodhound, the minute they catch a scent, they follow. And that's why their movements are zigzag, zigzag, because they're not actually on territorial patrol, or they don't actually have a mission like leopards do or lions do, really. They are purely following their nose. So if they go, oh, scent, they'll follow, and then they have to keep trying to figure out how to get to the scent. It's not immediately direct. They'll obviously move. Oh no, it's weak there but strong there, so I'm going to follow this direction. And that's why we really don't track hyenas. If there are a lot of hyena tracks all in one area, then yes, of course, we might be a bit suspicious. But we don't track hyenas. They move great distances and they are solely following their nose, unless they hear something, unless they hear kill being made or alarm calls, but otherwise it's all about the nose. Okay, I'm going to really concentrate here because I am very much on the eastern slice now, hoping to see Kalamba.
Welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. We're still waiting for our big breeding herd of elephants to arrive at Ndlobo Dam. At the moment, we're just going to hang around and see what's happening. And we're also just going to pan around in the dam and share the different sounds in the background with you. Some of them are from a number of different Spursfelds and Franklins. And you might also hear a clicking sound of one of the small little quail species which we find in the area. It's just amazing how many button quails as well as quails have moved in. And one of the common quail species that we are finding over here at the moment is known as a harlequin quail. And they will produce a sound that sounds pretty much like wick, 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 wick. And it's almost incredible just to think how rain can change a landscape so quickly and how these birds can arrive so quickly when the rains do come. We also find that most of the bird species at the moment, such as the Franklins, Spurfells and doves, are actually spending more time on the roads as with the vegetation is so thick. And the reason why they're doing that is that they're at risk of being taken by small predators, such as mongooses, as well as a number of others that might catch them when they're moving through the thick grasses.
We are on our third boundary, 3 or 4, so 3/4 done, and still no leopard track. Elephant tracks, hyena tracks, but no spotted cats. Then from there we'll actually start spiraling into Djuma. It almost looks like it's raining further west of us. Just see the bit of a misty cover. Yeah, not yet storming. I know JP said it's coming down pretty hard where he is, but for now we are still in the clear. So while we have the time, keep going. This must be one of the easiest roads to find tracks. Very sandy. Soft sand as well. So it's easy to see from the driver's seat. See all the elephant dung. Daniel, I'd say early morning or late afternoon, you need the sunshine. You don't want the sun right above you because then there's no shadow in the track and it literally almost disappears. So you can have the sun at an angle, preferably driving into the sun. It's easier to see from the vehicle. Otherwise the shadow of the vehicle actually falls over the track and it makes it harder to see from sitting in this position. So if you can drive into sunrise or sunset, it's much easier to find tracks. Okay, so the hyena veered off, went into Torchwood. This is another pride I'd love to see, the Torchwood pride, because of course that, well, I think so, it would make sense, but the Torchwood male, which is now up around Ngala, Shinzela, Timbavati area, who's joined up with the Birmingham young male, must come from this pride, I think. Also a descendant of the Birmingham boys. I think this is actually quite cool to see. So here's a marula tree to our right, a female. But then if you look at on the road, there's just so many tracks, elephant tracks everywhere. And they must have just been here picking up marulas and feeding for a while. So this is from last night though, because there's quite a few nocturnal tracks on top of them. Well, actually I only saw Jenna tracks on top of it. The animal that Lauren showed you last night. But they walked a long way. So sadly, if a leopard walked here before them, you will not find that track. Sandy, so I've actually, see a little puff adder. I've actually given up on individuals, and I've now come to the stage that I would just love to see any leopard. That's quite a small puff adder. Darby and I was actually looking at a track of one a little bit earlier on a cutler, and it's just going to disappear into the grass now. What a cool snake. I absolutely love photographing them. With them you can actually, I wouldn't lie 2 meters in front of it, but a good 4 meters, 5 meters off, zoom in a little bit, and you could take brilliant shots just of the face. Very cool. So yeah, Sandy, I'm not really after individuals. I've now, because it's my last day, any leopard will do. Absolutely any leopard will do. So I think the reason the snake is on the road, it's actually trying to heat up, because now the grass is wet, maybe still a little bit cool. So today is actually a good day to find snakes if the sun sticks around for a little while longer. Of course, a cytotoxic snake, and one of the fastest striking snakes in the world, if not the fastest. So very dangerous. I think it's a snake that kills the most humans in Africa every year. But usually quite slow moving. See, they rely on their camouflage more than anything else, which is what makes them so dangerous. Is when you walk specifically through long grass like this, I promise you're not going to see the snake even. And instead of trying to get away from you, the snake will actually just maybe bunch up, and then when you step on it, it's going to bite you, because nothing likes being stepped on. Let us go see what JP is up to.
Welcome back to Eco Training Bridlands. At the moment we're looking at a woodland kingfisher, and it was just about to catch something on the ground and then it flew up again. Some of the things that they do go for is a lot of insects, but I've also seen that they do take a lot of smaller little reptiles, and quite often I see them actually going for little dwarf geckos as well. Let's see what it gets up to. We've also been hearing a lot of distant vocalization of elephant, and hopefully our elephants will be very soon reaching the dam to come and have a drink. I'm also really hoping that they're going to have a swim. But in the meanwhile, let's see what our kingfisher is up to. As mentioned earlier, they predominantly go for insects. However, you might have heard me using the word king and fisher, which indicates that they would catch fish. I've never seen them catching fish, however, I have seen them quite often catching insects off the water surface by simply dipping into the water surface. Sometimes they also plunge bathe, from which they will use to actually wetten the feathers so that they can clean them a little bit more easily. And that's assisting to get rid of old green gland oil. And then they will apply a new coat of green gland oil to keep the feathers supple. When it does come to the different groups of kingfishers, we find that there's two main behavioral types: those that specialize in fishing and those that specialize in going for insects. The ones that typically go for fish is giant kingfisher as well as pied kingfisher. Well, the remainder of them tends to go for a wide range of other things, including insects, although some of the smaller species, such as malachite kingfisher, will also go for fish. We also find that South Africa is home to one of the largest water-associated kingfishers in the world, and that's the giant kingfisher. If you're ever curious what the largest kingfisher is on the planet, it's actually a kookaburra from Australia. we wait for our elephants and we're watching our kingfisher, and let's go and see what Lauren is up to.
Owen thought he might have saw something that looks like a leopard in a tree. Fleeting glance. So we went all the way back to check. You must always check. Sometimes the cameraman will say, I thought I saw something, but because your eyes will play tricks with you. And most of the time it's nothing or it's a stump, but some of the time it's a leopard. I'll never forget, I saw something and I thought that is a fallen over tree, and I drove. But then I thought, I don't know if that was a tree, let's go back. And everyone thinks, oh, okay, let's go back. And it was one of the avocas, just lying there. And it was a lion. And I had initially driven past, so it's always worth checking. So we checked and it wasn't a leopard, but that's okay, OD. Get your leopard spotting eyes on. We played Monopoly last night in camp. But it's not no Monopoly, it was one of my Christmas presents. And it's the card version. You can buy the card game of Monopoly. And it's amazing. I totally recommend it. It's quick. I mean, the game will never last more than 15 minutes. Whereas real Monopoly can last hours. And it is so much fun. So we've been playing it. Oh, it got dark. I think that Savage's track has now, I think it was named after Rowan. He's savage. Savage at the game, wasn't he, Owen?
Yeah, you were too.
Oh, I was too. Yeah, I like to think I'm skilled. But Rowan, my goodness, what a dark horse. You'll need to tell him we're talking about his Monopoly Talent FC and see what he has to say for himself. But him and Avi, whew, the competition, I tell you. I wonder how they're getting on in that vehicle. Oh, no, it's all fun. But Rowan was pretending to be the weakest link, pretending that he's new to the game. Because Avi and I have been playing it for months. And whew, savage. It's very fun. If you're ever looking for a new card game to play, go for Monopoly. There's not much to do in camp at night time. Gotta entertain yourself somehow. There's not many people around like there used to be. Okay, I just want to check this junction. I don't see anything. The ground's not going to work in our favor though. Dean, so much fun. Honestly, you collect your properties just like you do in Monopoly, and you get your action cards. And really, last night was not about being friends with your colleagues. Savage. Oh, dog, you did not bad. Ish.
Second time back.
Owen was also new to the game. It's really good fun because you can wrap it up quickly. It's just, it's good. But of course, it's all about luck. I don't think there is any skill involved, but it's fun. The four of us sat and played it. But it was very, very fun, team. Especially if you've had a long day in the bush and it's just not gone your way and you didn't find what you want to find and you're just getting frustrated. I get frustrated if I can't find the answers sometimes. Obviously you want to come back to camp and just relax and play a game of cards. But yesterday happened to be a great day. We were all very happy. We had wonderful sightings. Okay, another critical junction coming up. So I'm just going to stop here and see if I can see any signs of tracks.
It actually was quite a savage game. I think we nearly burnt a few bridges. As for our boundary patrol, we have found tracks of a pack of wild dogs, but sadly not going in this direction, going in that direction. So they have crossed out, fresh from this morning. So if we did boundary patrol the other way around, we would have found wild dogs. But of course, hindsight is always 20/20. And plus, we're looking for leopard. These are all just excuses I'm coming up with. As for the Monopoly game, I won. It's the third game I won in my 2 weeks here. So not the best at it, but yeah, the last game was pretty savage. A birdie. So I'm amazed we haven't found tracks for the pride we saw yesterday afternoon. But we'll keep checking. I think it's probably another 10 minutes or so on this road. And then okay, so he's talking about the wild dog tracks now going that way. So yeah, about another 10 minutes on this boundary and then we'll start heading into Juma and maybe just start on Philemon's dip, check that area, check Trials Dam and just hope for the best. Nice to see a little puff adder though, those are always fun.
Well, we are not much further than we were just a few moments ago. But I am on Goripan Road now. I've received a message from the west with an update, but I don't know, the signal in this reserve is very bad these days. I don't quite know what's happened, so hopefully something exciting is happening. But I just want to check Goripan. And it's funny because Goripan Road is, well, it has always been one of my least favorite roads. I don't like driving it. And of course, Goripan just behind it has an incredible downside, but as for the road, I just don't enjoy Goripan Road. I think I've had one sighting there. Okay, maybe more than one, but still, it's not one of my favorite roads. But for Tlalamba, we must check it. She likes it. She likes it probably for all the reasons that I don't. It's narrow, very overgrown, hard to spot things, very windy. She probably loves it for those reasons. If I have a specific favorite road. I can choose my favorite out of the boundary lines, as Gary name. I can choose a lot of roads that I like. I can choose sections of the reserve that I like. Right now I go through phases. My favorite sort of section to work is the southeast. It's got the Mawati, it's got the Hyena Den, it's got Twin Dams. Love working that area right now. But I don't know if I could choose one specific road out of them all. And it does change. It changes over time. I remember when I first came here, I wouldn't have said that. You sort of, your heart goes with the sightings. There's nothing fresh here. Kalamba girl, are you flying? But I think if I had to choose one road right now, I probably would choose Twin Dams Road because it is extremely long. It extends right from our camp. Actually, in our camp, you can jump straight onto Twin Dams Road, drive past the dam camp, and it takes you all the way down to Gowrie Main. There's always something on it. Even if you don't find an animal straight away, I must say you're always going to have some luck in finding tracks or signs. It takes you past Spaghetti Junction, which can take you in many directions. So I have to say I do love Twin Dams Road, but I love many roads for different reasons. I love Taxon's Road, which is very small. It used to be a game path when I first came here. It takes you past all the old Hyena Den straight to Treehouse. We were never allowed to drive it before, but then the Hyena Dens arrived. What's your favorite road, Owen?
I think it's changed.
It's changed.
Come Elephant Carcass.
Elephant Carcass?
It's pretty, yeah.
It's very pretty. What was it before?
Mendoza.
Owen, are you joking?
That's where the big leopards hang out. Mendoza. Always used to bump into them.
Oh my goodness, wait till James Hendry hears that. Owen used to love the road of nothing, aka Mendoza.
It's now Monkey Orange.
Yeah, it's now Monkey Orange. It's very confusing. All the new guides are going to obviously say Monkey Orange because they're reading a map, but I would always call it Mendoza, so it's a little bit confusing. Not sure why or how that happened. Wow, Owen, you have literally just blown my mind.
It's just stunning.
Okay, but we don't like Mendoza anymore. We like Elephant Carcass. Okay. Okay. Well, I like Elephant Carcass as well because it's right north of the drainage that the Hyena Den sits on. So the hyenas naturally love it, and the leopards do too. Wow. I think we need to ask the boys. Yeah, we need to ask what roads they like. Davi especially. Sorry, I'm also just trying to look at the ground here. Because coming up is a Dane site that she was originally using, where I think John T had her, and during that period of time. I've popped in because it's extremely accessible, but I really don't think she's using that part anymore. But we're coming up to that area, and naturally a drainage line is a huge system, so she could just be at different parts of the drainage line. She also could not be on Juma. But we're trying. Okay, we're going to slowly check this road, see if anything's happening, and we're going to send you guys over to Rome.
Yeah, we haven't found anything yet either. So I asked Davy. Davy said his favorite road is Drakensberg, most likely because of the beautiful view there of the mountain and good spot to watch the sunset. I think my favorite road is Savages, but more because I like the name. These wild dogs travelled a long way down this cut line. My favourite area is the Mowati though. Driving in there, always gorgeous. And then my favourite tree on Djuma so far is the big leadwood in the Mowati. But I think if I find a leopard in a tree, I might change that. Anna Marie. So the most beautiful dam is Chitwa Dam, but so far our most action has actually happened at twin dams. So I think it's tough because you can actually just sit at Chitwa Dam and just watch and appreciate everything. I mean, there's so much happening there. So yeah, I'll stick to Chitwa Dam as my favorite dam. Definitely a quiet start to the morning. So they are still looking for the wild dogs, for Naughty and a few other rangers. I think they might have started chasing Impala and then they would have gone off-road. So to try figure out then which direction through the long grass, it'll take them a little bit of time to find. It's just strange that, so Lauren went east, I went west, and then the next guy also basically went south, and now no one came north. And it's just odd that of course everything's going to happen in the north on the one day when no one checks here. Like I said earlier, hindsight's always 20/20. So probably another 5 minutes or so down the cut line, we'll get to an area called Sydney's Dam, actually close to Gowrie Gate, and then from there head back into Djuma, check quarantine quickly, a road called Philemon's Dip, and yeah, extend the search for an elusive leopard.
Dam, and then we'll take it from there. It's eerily quiet, especially on the radio. There's just nothing happening. This is my least favorite dam, but it's always worth checking. And water is everywhere now, so it doesn't mean that animals are necessarily going to go to a dam to drink, but it's also utilized by many different species in so many different ways, not just to drink. It's an open area, it'll be a core area and many sort of predators' territory. The vegetation that will be delicious and palatable, which means there will be lots of herbivores around, which naturally attracts the predators. It's not necessarily that everybody's going to come here to drink anymore. Ah, wunderbar. Okay. Owen, can you work with this? I'm just going to sit here and admire the view for a moment. Isn't it beautiful? Just sitting here listening to all the bird calls.
Okay, so my thought for the day so far is boundaries, uneventful. And now we'll go check Juma. To the right here is the watering hole, Sydney's Dam.
Any luck on your side with the photo?
Just quickly have a look around here. Also very, very, very pretty dam. But only Impala.
Copy. I've had no luck with Calamba and Gonzo.
Okay, copy. Yeah, now I'm approaching here at the first aspect. If maybe I'm gonna find
I'll just get binoculars out and have a quick squiz around the dam edges. Can hear a lion.
Just before I do cut line, the tracks are off the road, so I have to double check where exactly they went.
I can't see a lion. I can see a hippo, I can see Impala.
If you don't mind, I'll maybe check the camera.
And that's about that. So let's start heading into Juma. It was rather fun to check all the boundaries though. And I have indeed. I've really enjoyed my time on Juma. It has been nice seeing WildEarth again. I'm pretty sure I'll be back. And it's, you know, you build up your confidence as you get to know the area. You just feel like, okay, now I know where I am, know where to check, know exactly where you left the last tracks, so you can go back there. And then of course, as you build your confidence, you become more comfortable with an area. And I think it probably showed. But yeah, I've really enjoyed my little stint on Juma. Thank you for asking, Angel. These dogs ran all the way along here. They might have just come from Simbambili. So we'll take the next road to the right and then head on to Vuyatela, take it back towards Quarantine, Philemon's Dip. So let's go see how Lauren's doing with her track searching.
I did try to signal to FC, but we're about to hit a signal dip. Our signal is going to go, and it is a road that I am going to check. It's in Yala North, and it's always been a rubbish signal for us. Always, always, always. But it's one of my favorite roads. Talking of favorite roads, I love it. So our signal, as soon as we go, is going to go. So we'll just give you some views of the road for now, but we will need a minute or two to get through this road. Kalamba also loves it. The Nkuhumas loved it. Tangana loved it. But unfortunately, it is just a no signal zone for some weird reason. We've got two massive black spots. So always been Sydney's Dam and Nyala North. Always, always, always. So I'm going to quickly race through this road just to complete it as part of my search. And you are going to go back over to Rowan.
Okay, you guys are back very quick. Yeah, so we are now in Djuma. We've turned off. We are heading towards Vuyatela access, and then more towards the central parts of Djuma. Still only hyena tracks and impala tracks on this road. You can find a hyena track on every road here. There's definitely no shortage of them. And then every morning when we wake up, find tracks in camp. And Marie, I'm gonna miss beating everyone at Monopoly savagely. No, it's quite a few things. I mean, basically everything. The wildlife, the beauty of the area. Like every place you leave, you end up having a spot for it in your heart, I suppose. That sounded very deep. I'm not really a very emotional person, Anna-Marie, so but I will miss the people. I'll miss the food. I mean, Lotus feeds us very, very well. We're having a little braai with all the staff tonight. That happens every Friday, so I'll miss that. I'll miss all Odie's stories about where he saw a leopard on every single road, and that I never got to see. You guys are making me feel like I'm leaving forever with all these questions. I'm just taking a bit of time off. See, now it's getting tougher to see tracks because the sun has actually disappeared behind a cloud. Even though it is a rather sandy road, getting harder and harder. It's not even like we're driving fast, but of course it would just be easier walking around, but then you wouldn't cover as much ground. I think if we walked all the boundaries, we'd still be on Triple M, which was the first boundary we checked. She's stopped. I keep seeing something. Okay, we're gonna send you over to Lauren while I try to decipher what track I'm seeing.
We made it through Inyala North. It is such a beautiful road as well. But that's okay, it's just always been that way. We have a stumpy here. We have a whole herd, actually, of elephants, and this one appears to be missing part of its tail. It won't be able to swat away the flies as easily as it normally would. But you can see it's still got a stump, and it's still able to protect in most sensitive areas. It can still probably go erect in terms of body language, but it's definitely missing the bulk of it, especially. Elephants love this drainage line. They absolutely love it. It's probably because of the vegetation, the way that waters drain into drainage lines, because it's part of the riverine system. It generally means that the vegetation around areas like this is the best. It's the most nourishing, it's the most palatable and nutritious. So you will find that herbivores love to eat in the drainage lines. Once you get up to the very top of the Katina, the soil runs down. So the water runs down from the soil at the top of the Katina. So sometimes the vegetation up there will not be as nutritious because it doesn't hold on to water. The water runs down into drainage lines. No luck on Kalamba tracks so far, but I'm going to keep trying. Both Finalti and I agree that she's probably somewhere on a kill. And naturally, when leopards are on a kill, they're pretty sedentary. So if you don't find the track, she could be deep, deep, deep in any block, and we just obviously don't see her. I'm going to keep trying, though. She'll get moving at some point. I'm going to keep trying, though. She'll get moving at some point. Paul, I'm guessing you're talking about the tail. You're saying shame, poor elephant. Oh, it's absolutely fine. Animals adapt. Really, they just adapt. My old beagle got her leg taken off due to cancer, and she just adapted. It's a shame, but this Ellie will be absolutely fine. It really will be. The resilience in animals is incredible, and it's sometimes mind-blowing, especially when you compare it to humans and how we are not as adaptable. Oh, it is a shame, but honestly, it will be absolutely fine. very peaceful. Listen to all the sounds of everybody waking up because the sun is finally shining. How long it'll shine for, I don't know. I'm wondering, Owen, if you're getting a better view if we do drive around. We might get a better view of these Ellies as they're slowly approaching Central. So that's what we're going to do.
So I got out to look at the tracks, and it's a female leopard track, but from yesterday sometime, already elephant tracks on top of it. But anyway, what happened was I was walking, so I'm just going to jump off quick. So I was walking down the road, looking down, thinking, yes, imagine I bump into something. So walking here, and I got to about here, and a hyena was walking from the other side, basically also looking down, just sniffing. And then we saw each other. I got a mini heart attack. As you can see, the hyena got a mini heart attack. This is the front paws just going in, braking, hind legs here, and then it jumped to here and just sprinted away. Absolutely hilarious. But both of us got the fright of our lives. It's always good fun. So yeah, if we carried on driving, we probably could have showed you a hyena. But I wanted to try and figure out where this female leopard's going. And it is in this direction. But it's just been walked across with, by elephants. I think that hyena should be close to the den by now. It is amazing how quickly they can move when they want to. Okay, so this puts us back on Vuyatela access, and we've driven this already this morning, so I'm not going to spend too much time driving slowly and looking for tracks here, as we've already been through it.
We've repositioned, and it actually works in our favor anyway, signal wise, and get much better views of the elephants. And I've mentioned this quite a few times, and it didn't come from me, it came from Rexon, but he said they're not destroyers, they are creators, and I really just love that. It's all about changing your perspective. And Rexon does a lot of the work here now that Juma's changed the structure a little. Rexon does a lot of the work at protecting the marulas and putting the sort of wire mesh around all the trees. And although you don't want to prevent elephants from getting their food, there's also a sort of mechanism and algorithm behind it, if you like, where he knows the land better than anyone. I mean, Rexon's brought up here. This is his home. And he understands the movements of the elephants, why they're ring barking, what trees they do ring bark, and how to selectively choose specific trees to protect that'll still protect not only those trees but the integrity of the land around it. And that's a lot of his work now. He does that. And it just deters the elephant. It doesn't harm them. It doesn't hurt them. Their food is plentiful. We're not in a drought. We're in the most lush, giving season with water everywhere. So they don't need the bark. They don't need to do that. And that's why we do protect them in the area. But they're not destroyers. They're creators. They create new things in so many ways. They're the architects. Engineers, changing the land, not to destroy it, but to create something new. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful way of looking at it. Megan Edwards, you're seeing such pretty visuals. That's all down to OD, not me. He's the one with the skill behind the camera. I guess the elephants are helping. I mention this all the time, but Owen just reminded me that a lot of guides will about identifying the matriarch. And I think some guides are a bit too quick. That's the matriarch. But really, there's a lot more to it than just being the oldest female or therefore the largest. That's not always the case. And in that beautiful book that I always recommend, Beyond Words by Carl Safina, it's broken into elephants, orcas, and wolves. And it's wonderful. It's quite heavy at points, but it's wonderful. And it really does go into great detail about elephant societies, how they communicate, how they structure themselves. And it's all about social units. Basically, the matriarch isn't always just the biggest female. And you've got to be really careful at presuming who it is. Sometimes it is obvious. But really, when it comes to science, you've obviously got to be very conclusive. And in identifying the matriarch, you should always wait, you should always observe. How you really are going to identify is not because she's the biggest female, no, is by social interactions. You need to just watch and see who they all gravitate around. Who are they reacting to? Who are they responding to? Who's the one that's sort of keeping her eye on the rest of the herd? She might not always be the big female at the front. She might just be that slightly smaller yet older female right at the back observing everybody. So sometimes it is obvious, but I think some people are just a bit too quick to see that's a matriarch. You've really got to watch who they're responding to, who they are gravitating around. After all, the matriarch is key to everybody's survival. She is the one that is going to lead the herd from success to success. She's responsible for the reproductive success of the whole herd. Yes, it's the oldest elephant, so therefore should be the biggest, but it's just not always the case, and you should be careful when you're trying to identify the matriarch. Involved in the herd than any other, but it might not be immediately obvious. Calves will always be with their mothers, and the matriarch herself will have calves, but she will be involved in the herd and the decisions that are made more than any other individual. Sometimes in kinship groups, or if there's been a loss, a death of a matriarch, a new one will arise. It's not always the right one, and it's not always the oldest one, and it's not always the correct one. And what I mean by that is the book Beyond Words goes into great detail about how each individual elephant has its own personality. We can see that. And not all females are just destined to be the matriarch. It's just not always, that's just not who they're destined to be. Just like we all have our own destiny. Some of them have not got what it takes to be a matriarch. And that's why sometimes the wrong female will arise, take that position. She's a bit too young maybe, with not enough knowledge, or she just wasn't meant to be a matriarch, and at the end of the day, she won't lead the herd to success, and it can be so detrimental, even fatal to some elephants. I think that's that herd moving off now, I'm afraid. We can try and see if we can catch up with others around the corner. I've gone off into the drainage line. Okay, OD, let's do a bit of a U-turn here. Are we good? The cameraman acts as your mirrors, your side mirrors, because you can't see anything behind you. I'm just going to drive slowly in case there are any more elephants. And if I can't find any more, then we're going to continue our search for signs of Tlalamba, and you guys are going to head over to Rowan.
We also saw an elephant, just one though. But then of course, he was just walking into too thick vegetation. So we decided no, we'd rather continue our search for anything else. Which is what brings us to this area. Julie, no, I don't think so. I think there are still leopards on Juma. They are around. It's just quite a tough track to find because it's such a light animal. So we just need to keep checking all the roads. I mean, somewhere there will be a leopard on Juma. I'm actually convinced about that. I just need to sniff her out, or him. That elephant that we saw, it's a big bull and he's on quarantine. And he actually came from here. What does blow my mind though is that we have found no tracks of the lions either. The Nkuhuma lionesses with the 7 youngsters. I don't really know why that is. Because we checked the cut line, the boundary, fairly slowly. technically shouldn't have missed it. Especially where every road meets the cut line. We've slowed down a lot there. And the radio has been dead quiet. So I don't think they've had any luck in finding the wild dogs. But yes, you get these days as well. Makes you appreciate days like yesterday and the previous day. I think both Lauren and myself had the perfect afternoon yesterday. She's sitting in her favorite place in the world, and me just getting to spend 3 hours with the Pride Alliance. It's almost like every time we go looking for leopard, it turns into a quiet drive.
Making some decisions on where I want to go. I really want to go into the Mowati and check Purple Eyes all day, and it would not surprise me if Kalamba was using that, really. But we've got the roof on. We hate the roofs. The whole team hate the rain roofs, but sadly it obviously does protect you from rain. So when it rains, we're very glad to have them. But it's just not worth going into den sites with your roof on for a multitude of reasons. Sorry. There we go. We're gonna go this way. But I would 100% check that den this afternoon, especially if we don't have the rain roof on. And I'll show you guys it. You'll have a lot of memories. We don't go in that way anymore because just at the den site, it's collapsed. The dip is collapsed, that really crazy dip that we used to drive through. And it was from the cyclone last year. Or the year before. I can't remember when that crazy weather was. And it's completely not drivable. So you can get to a point and then you have to stop, but Kalamba loves that area. So I also want to just scratch around. It's also beautiful, and it will also bring back lots of memories for us also. That'll be the plan this afternoon if we don't have our rain roof on. I guess I've been driving this day every single day and there's no fresh tracks, so what that means, I guess, is that she's just not moving in this area. So she's either shifted and she's sort of moving and working a different area, or she's on a kill and she has been there for quite a few days. The last time we had her, which was the 4th of December, she was on a kill that the hyenas stole. They didn't get any of it from what I can gather. She was bringing the cubs. I don't think any of them ate much of the kill. We didn't see it, which means very shortly after she would have to make a kill again. What was that?
January, December.
Did I say December? Sorry. I don't know why I would say December. I'm clearly not aware what year we're in. The bush does that to you. Okay, sorry. I've been corrected by my cameraman. 4th of January. The bush is amazing, but you do just lose all track of time, really. The days are long, but the years are short, that's for sure. 4th of January. Oh, hello. I've been complaining that I've not been seeing any of you guys, and now you're everywhere. Did you listen to my complaints? You're listening to me right now. I know you are. Your tail's a little bit uncomfortable. It's not going from side to side. It's going out and in and out and in. You're not sure of us. But I'm just going to keep talking so you can still hear my voice and then make a decision. On what to do. You're still listening and smelling. David, you're age 9. And you're asking how big do elephants' ears grow? Well, I'm about to tell you. African elephants' ears are said to be in the shape of the African continent, and if you actually look at them, they really look like they are. I'm just going to hold on a minute before I answer your question. This is just a young boy, I think. But I don't want to annoy him. I'm just watching his behavior as he moves off, and of course we've got a roof on. How's that, Owen? He's still very much listening to us. Sorry, you were asking about the ears. They can grow to a vertical height, so up and down, of 2 meters. Not all, but I'm talking about your really, really big bulls. Can go up to 2 meters, and the largest, the sort of that they'll grow, is 1.2 meters, so just over a meter in width. So they're very, very big, and some of them can weigh up to 20 kilograms each. Unbelievable, but they're very important to an elephant. They're not just for hearing. They have a lot of different functions, especially to cool the elephant down. So that's why they are so big. The bigger the ears, the better. But it's all proportional, really. You're not going to have a small little cow with massive 20 kilogram ears. It's all proportional to the body size. But they get very, very big. But just look at that shape. He's wandering off. Sometimes it's just so nice to listen to the birds as you're watching a magnificent animal like an elephant. We are going to move. He's gone round behind that terminal. Sandy, exactly. Watching an elephant and listening to the bird calls, especially in summer. That's why a lot of elephant sightings I do just go silent so you can completely immerse yourself. I think you can work with this, Owen, in that moment. And that's what I also try to do. I mean, you're in the presence of the most magnificent beasts, the most magnificent animals that are way in tune to the environment than you are. And that's why I also just like to go silent. Of course, I'll answer any of your questions you have about them, but I don't know, there's just something about sitting here and being immersed in the moment. Nadia, you're saying you can really see the shape of their ears. I know. Asian elephants are different. They look different. Their ears are nowhere near as big. Because they live in a different environment. They live in Asia. It's a lot more humid. So although it gets really hot, there's a lot more moisture in the air. And they just look really different. I spent quite a fair bit of time with Asian elephants in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is very close to Maldives, so I used to spend most of my time in Sri Lanka. And it's the most wonderful country. So it's a rough diamond. It's getting there. It's got some wonderful wildlife. It's got blue whales in the ocean. It's got their own little aribada with turtles, the olive ridley turtles. It's got leopards in Yala National Park. It's got the mountains. It really is absolutely crazy, beautiful and lush and filled with wildlife. I completely recommend it to anyone. But it's not quite polished. But you can spend time with a lot of elephants there. And there actually is an orphanage called Pinawala. And they do keep the elephants, but they've been quite badly abused. So there's this toss-up between, do you just let the elephant stay in the wild and it can barely walk? A lot of them have got sort of support and fake legs to help them walk, and they are looked after. Although keeping elephants in a sanctuary, I know it's a tricky one, but Sri Lanka's a developing country and they're doing very well with their elephants, basically. You can also sort of look up Pinawala and see what they do. And you can spend a lot of time with them there. It's remarkable, the difference. African elephants are a lot bigger and their ears are a lot bigger, and it's all to do with where they live, their geographic location and the sort of environment that they are in. But once you see the shape of the continent of Africa, you can never unsee it, that's for sure. Dragonfly trying to bow ride our car, just like dolphins do a boat. Okay, we may bump into more elephants, but I just now want to check Gowrie Cutline Central for any signs of the elusive princess. I remember James Hendry and I spent weeks and weeks looking for Tandy and Mareebs when Mareebs was young, and we drove ourselves crazy. We were making up songs, we were just... So it's actually better not to get yourself in that loop. But I also want to know where Tlalamba is, where she's moving. The cubs are old enough now, they're mobile. We want to start getting to know them. We want to confirm the sex of both. But I'm literally the only person working this part of the reserve, and that's going to be the tricky part. But I'm still going to try. You've got to try. So as I now bumble west, Wish me luck to pick up on some signs of our princess.
Okay, we're on the road now where we left the Pride last night. Actually, it is incredible to see what a bit of rain does to a track, because here where we are now, it's a muddy, basically sandy spot, and it's almost like everything has just been washed away. Very clear hyena tracks on top of the rain going in this direction, but I can't find a lion track. Let's make sure they didn't turn off. Nothing coming in this direction. Sorry, Darby, I'm just going to check this road quick. And then also only hyena tracks going in the other direction. Bizarre. Rain spoils it completely. Anyway, we'll keep looking. Sure, we'll pick up a track somewhere. Thing is, they were responding to contact calls. So, with lions, I mean, they'll know the property being, or having been, the dominant pride over Djuma for so long, that they would know, okay, there's a game path, shortcut, going in that direction or that direction, and they'd rather walk on that. I mean, why walk the long way around if you can just take a little shortcut? Let's keep checking down here, following the fresher hyena tracks. One thing I won't be doing today is walking in an area like this. Not after yesterday. Last night I pulled 7 ticks out of my left foot and 11 out of my right foot. So, not keen for that again. And that was only at night. In the morning I didn't count the ticks, but also a fair number. Try and miss that little eroded section there. So on that road you would actually see lion tracks. Regardless of the rain, it would have been indented in the sand quite enough. Saying earlier to Darby, often what happens when you have to track off the vehicle is that you just get fixated on the road. So you keep looking down on the road instead of looking around. And you almost have to remind yourself, oh wait, but I need to check around as well. Luckily there are 2 of us. So he keeps scanning around and then I keep my eyes mostly on the road. It's quite important on a day like today. Like we saw earlier, a little puff adder on the road. Same thing could happen with chameleons coming out, drying off a little bit, other snakes. Of course we don't want to drive over any of it, even those giant African land snails would come out on a day like today. It does feel like this part of the reserve got more rain than around camp and the northern part. Anyway, while we try to figure out what to do from here, we're going to send you back across to Lauren.
A little bit awkward. Can't see the animal we had, but I'm hoping that it's going to pop out. We had a chameleon earlier crossing the road and it was black. I've never... hello. Don't disappear, we're just admiring you. Speaks hinged tortoise. No. They move so much faster than you think they're going to move. I feel like that might be that sighting over. But the chameleon was black. I've never seen a chameleon that black before. And they do darken, A, when they're cold, and B, when they're very, very unhappy. They go very dark in colour, but this chameleon was black. It was not happy. And it just quickly crossed the road. There's no way you're going to be able to see it again when the grass is this long. That's why you need to be really careful in summer. You've got to look for animals, but you've also got to keep your eyes on the road. Dung balls filled with life, tortoises, land snails, chameleons, insects, anything. You don't want to drive over them. Termite chimneys. There could easily be a leopard sitting right there just watching us, and you'd never see it in the long grass. You'd have to see the tracks that lead in there to get an indication. The grass is just so long. And of course it rained last night, so there's lots of reptiles out. And Rowan saw a puff adder. How cool is that? It's chameleon, tortoise, puff adder. I'm pretty sure I just saw a leopard track in amongst the hyenas here. And this is going to be my first leopard track of the morning. We're at Giraffe Dip. A very good place to check. Sorry, I'm just focusing. Because there are hyenas mixed in here too. You'd be surprised. Hyenas can really throw you. There's also a hyena in the Juma clan, I don't know who it is, whose claws are never in the tracks. So there's something wrong there. So sometimes it can throw you and look like a leopard. I remember Jamie always telling me about this hyena. Said this hyena will get you every single time. I don't actually know who it is, but it's obviously a Juma clanner. Okay, there were leopard tracks mixed in here, but they disappear, so I'm wondering if they're not terribly fresh. But that's okay, because the Giraffe Dip is one of the areas that I wanted to check anywhere for Kalamba. And once you come up the dip, once we get up this hill, you will see... Denny, you're saying the small things are always a good sign. I'm not sure if you're referring to the reptiles or the tracks, but both are a good sign. This is Gary Cutline. A wonderful... Oh, hello! are you guys doing here? A wonderful road for Tlalamba. Not a great road for Signal. Oh, look how wet their noses are. They're getting hot. Lady waterbucks. And then just to wrap up that thought, if I go right, I go up Gary Cutline. If I go left, it takes you in this gorgeous, amazing 2-track that takes you into the very start of the Mulwasi that we used to drive in Purple Eye. Stroke Tandy's Dane is just down there. But not right now with the roof on, I'm afraid. I know some of you just enjoy context of the reserve. Some of you might have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, and that's also okay. And it also means we're not far away from Gowrie Dam. You don't tend to find waterbuck too far away from water.
Sure, I've got them here at First Rock. Sorry?
The dogs are on Torchwood. She said, "Did you say dogs?" No, they're not here. That was a lovely little sighting while it lasted. So I'm going to continue to scratch this area. We're just sitting admiring the views of Gowrie Cutline. Such a beautiful morning it's turned out to be. Big regret for keeping the rain roof on, but better safe than sorry. But we are just going to continue to admire this wonderful scenery in front of us. Isn't it beautiful? The birds are definitely in full swing this morning.
Guys, so we did see where the lines crossed out. There's a very, very, very faint track of one lioness. And yeah, across the boundary. Actually, you can't see anything on the boundary road at all because of the rain, but now there's no more doubt in my mind that they have moved along back to Arethusa, which makes sense because that's where the other lines were calling from. So luckily we have confirmed that. We can move along from there. So now we're going back to central Djuma. Tell you now, the sun is out and it is baking. So much for that storm from Pridelands. Might still come. It's taking its time. And the cloud cover looks quite thick to the west of us. Logan, I love their social behavior. I love to see how the mothers play with the cubs, and yeah, I don't know, I've just learned to love absolutely everything about lions. I can't choose the best characteristic. It's just like everything. It's the ultimate predator out here in the bush. Got a little muggy fly into my eye. Quite itchy. I'll take a quick squiz around here. See what these are up to. That thing is so tiny. So much curiosity. Can see all three of them. But we're not going to stay here because no sign of an adult. This one is actually quite a bit smaller. The one on the right that came from the rise. There we go. A pile of hyena cubs. They are absolutely adorable. Must be teething because that one's just starting to bite or everything. If not, the siblings now, a piece of there's a rock or stump. So it's just because us being here often draws the attention of other animals. Mostly saying that mostly hyena become curious with the sight of a vehicle to come check it out. But we've also had leopards do that before, and if there's no protection for them here, no sign of an adult, then I don't want to be the cause of a curious leopard coming to see what we're doing, what everything's about. So yeah, either leave them in safety. They're not making any noise at all. Of course, me sitting here and chirping away make a bit of noise, and then starting old trusty Rusty also makes a noise. So rather dense sites, you know, I've been doing it like this for 9 years, that if you can't see an adult, let it be. We do the same thing with lions and leopards, wild dogs, as well as hyenas. Wesley, I'm glad you like that. Yeah, very, very, very cute, all cuddled, huddled, and biting. Seems to be an elephant and hyena show again. Okay, let's go see what Lauren is up to.
I took a chance on Gallagher Pan. Nothing.
So thank you for that. We're leaving the site and we're going to head back into Bumble.
I'm thinking about doing the western edge of quarantine, and then I don't know. I've tried really hard to pick up on signs of Kalamba. We really need a lot of time off the vehicle to track on foot, and that's a little bit tricky right now. And more vehicles. But she's gonna appear one day. If she appears on the damn cam, wake me up, people, wake me up. But yes, hyena, wonderful sighting with heart this morning, and elephants. You can never not love an elephant sighting. We can talk about elephants all day long, but when you actually have that sighting, I just want to enjoy it. This is Gallagher. Shortcut. There's Gallagher shortcut, then there's Gallagher shortcut, and this one doesn't have a name, so let's go with Gallagher shortcut. Sometimes can be really productive, but not right now. Wow, look at that! Jeffrey, I got your comment just on time. Look at this. You're right, Jeffrey, you're saying don't stop. Yesterday, I made a great last minute find, and look. Wowza, you do not often see marabou storks here. Yes, we have them, but they're not common. And here, we've got one right on top of a dead tree. Amazing. You see them a lot in the Mara, and when I was in Ethiopia, we were in a town called Hawasha, and there are so many marabou storks that they have actually got specific areas marked off for the storks, and they've also got zebra crossings. I don't want to call it a pedestrian crossing because the pedestrians are the storks. They've literally designed special crossings in the road just for the storks, and the storks walk across the crossing. They make the cars stop just like people to get to the other side. It's amazing. Anyway, wowza, this is a very cool find. One of the best photos I ever took, one of the best sightings I ever had of a marabou stork was in the Masai Mara, and it was a kill made by I think the Salt Licks. I'm pretty sure it was the Salt Lake Pride. And the North Clan got it naturally, and all the scavengers were present. Marabou stork, jackal, and lappet-faced vultures, and they were all having an absolute hilarious time together. The jackal was just trying to bite the marabou stork's wing to annoy it. The lappet-face was waiting until the jackal was annoying the stork, and none of them were paying attention to swoop in, and I'm sure some of you will remember it. It was on a live drive. It was hilarious. Owen loves dad jokes. I've got a dad joke for you, Owen. Do you want to hear it? Dr. Rocky Balboa, thank you. It's a very nice find. I love them. So, Owen, why do storks stand on one leg? If they didn't, they would fall over. I'm not sure how authentic Owen's laugh was there. I think he's just putting it on for me. But anyway, that was terrible. I'm embarrassed.
What about my flat earth one from yesterday? Tell them that one.
Huh?
Tell them the flat earth one.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so...
You need to speak louder for the microphone to pick you up.
70% of the earth is covered by water and it's not carbonated. Therefore the earth is flat.
Oh dog. Where did you get that one from? The book of dad jokes. Viewers, don't even start. We're not going into the realm of dad jokes right now. Goodness, we've had many of drives where we literally just talk about dad jokes. Those are the quiet days. But sorry, Marabou, you're not getting the attention that you deserve right now, are you? Izzy, I think you're just being nice. I don't know whether you're talking about mine or Owen's, but I'm going to think it's mine. Owen just said that at the same time. Well, Izzy, we both say thank you. Oh dear. Anyway, back to the beautiful bird in hand. It wasn't gifted with... I wasn't gifted with much in terms of looks. They are said to be one of the most unattractive birds, which is a shame, and I don't agree. I think they're unique looking, but that's the sort of general consensus that they are one of the ugliest birds. They look like grumpy old men, which is a shame. And naturally, they are scavengers, and you will find them lurking on the outskirts of human civilization, landfill sites, trying to scavenge for anything that they can find. But I do believe that in Arabic, I'm sure it's Arabic, marabou can translate to hermit-like. Which is fascinating. But in different languages, you can pull out different meanings using different words. But I don't think in any language across the world, the marabou storks are known for their looks. Remarkable all the same, though. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, my mother always used to say. Oh, this is such a great last minute find. I feel like I need to go to quarantine now and find some more.
Okay, so we found a giraffe. Big male. It's quite nice just to sit here, and also you'll be able to hear the tail swishing every now and then. I think he's just going to hopefully end up feeding right next to us. Actually looks so cool with the clouds behind the giraffe. He's eating from a guarri tree, but I think mostly what he might be after are the little fruits. I mean, I was complaining about ticks, but this guy is just littered in it. And all the folds. Just gonna try to turn around, follow the giraffe for a little while. Luckily, he feels like walking on the road. Very elegant way of walking. So quite quiet now when they walk. Oh, I think that giraffe might have just disappeared. Let me quickly turn around, see if we can get one more glimpse of him. Big giraffe right next to us on the road. Actually quite lovely. And just see the head disappearing there. Get that, Dobby. Or the pole in the way. There you go. So on the topic of dad jokes, I've got one for you guys. I heard the other day. So why do you never see elephants hiding in trees? Don't know? Because they're very good at it. Why do elephants paint their testicles red? Also don't know. So they can hide in cherry trees. What is the loudest sound that you'll ever hear in the bush? No idea? A giraffe eating a cherry. Okay, I'm gonna leave you on that one. Actually, also on the topic of dad jokes, I know Odie didn't find Lauren's one funny, but yesterday, before our savage Monopoly game, and during dinner time actually, Odie perks up. So you know the earth is just over 70% covered in water. I'm like, yes, yeah. But it's not carbonated, so therefore the earth must be flat. So I must say the jokes around camp has been absolutely terrible, which is why we play Monopoly. Okay, back to business. We might have to go to Chitwa this afternoon. Go see what's happening around there. But you don't know, like a lot can change during a day like today, especially with the cloud cover. It's cool enough, things will be walking around, hopefully, fingers crossed. Ferrari Safari, not often. There's a fence around camp to keep elephants out, and because of the height of the fence, it means things like giraffe and hippo and buffalo luckily are also kept out of camp. Let's go straight. So no, we don't really see giraffe in camp. Of course the fence is around there just to keep the people safe, or safer. And elephants, oh, they wreck the trees. They'll come feed on it, and some of the cars are parked beneath trees, so that's a bit of an insurance issue. So sadly the giraffe, by process of elimination, also stay out of camp due to their height. A giraffe came from here. There's all the poo on the road. You can see he was making a poo while walking, which is why it's so spread out. Samantha, giraffe have long necks because due to evolution they don't have to compete with other animals for food now. So the only competition a giraffe has for food now would be an elephant. And Samantha, as you can recall, the elephant Lauren saw earlier has a very long nose. So they've evolved that way, and a giraffe, the neck stretched. And they both can feed from nearly the canopies of majority of the trees. Okay, so we are at Juma Dam, or Vuyatela Dam. Waving to the dam cam. Nice to see you again. Let's see if the hippo is here and what the hippo is up to. There are some ellies on the other side, hopefully making their way down to the dam. And then the hippo is still in the water. Also, probably the best known Egyptian geese in the world are sitting on that side. Impalas, but then yes, the elephants underneath a marula tree. Sorry Darby, I'm going to go just a slight bit forward. There we go. So I'm not sure where Lauren saw the elephants, but it might actually be the same herd. It almost looks like they want to come in this direction. I mean, both of the larger females are facing this way. Okay, one's coming down. And all will follow. Oh, I like watching them come down the slope. Turn left. Although, yeah, if they keep going straight, then it's not as much of a slope. Got nice and three in the front, all different sizes. It would have worked better if the one at the back was right behind the big one. And that youngster, you can see the trunk up, sniffing the water, also just sniffing if anything else is around. Mom doing the same now. Quinn, I'm also waiting for that. I just want them to go down the slope and break into that trot. All of them now following. There's some large females. A baby sprinting at the back. Getting excited because they're getting closer to water. Okay, and the first one's coming. Really hope one of the babies just go in. Don't think they will. It's not massive. It's like very, very hot. But it is warm enough. So I'll just probably walk in a little bit and just drink. But it's cool how they are all so closely bunched together. They keep quiet for a while. Just listen to them drinking. It's such a nice sound. And the last one is coming in to join now, so he's walking into frame. He just wanted to eat some more marula fruits before actually coming for a drink. So I'm just quickly listening to the radio. Yeah, they're talking about buffelshoek. So I'm gonna just keep quiet for about a minute or so. Again, just to listen to them drinking. You can see the one youngster in the middle actually spraying water out to both sides instead of drinking it. Not really that advanced at the art just yet. That female that just moved back, she sprayed the back of the youngster completely wet. Yeah, so a quick drink and then they'll be on their way back to feeding. Find more food. I'm actually quite surprised while we were sitting here, you'll notice that all of them have just been waving their ears quite a lot, especially when the sun comes out, it heats up very quickly. I was actually expecting some of them to just splash some water behind the ears, but they're not done yet. The one there on the right just had a quick little temper tantrum. Just poos in the water. Very nice. Actually bending down a little bit as well. Wee and poo. Poor hippo. Shame now no dung beetle can go work through that. It's completely lost. Clearly it's not done yet. It's still standing wide-legged and waiting. So again, sun's out and just look at the ears flapping. Maybe it just likes the position. Comfortable posture. Nearly stepped in it. Mike, yeah, just the other way around. Giraffe would usually bend the front legs and not the back legs. So yeah, Mike says it looks like a giraffe drinking water. It's like a giraffe in reverse. And that was quite funny to watch. Just too good. Good timing though, getting here just before they started drinking. See, the one baby wants to play, literally standing on the other one. There's a circus elephant. That's actually quite amazing. I wonder if it's like trying to drag the other one over. Anyway guys, thank you again for joining us this morning. It's been wonderful having you. And we'll see you guys in the afternoon. Have a lovely day.